right, welcome to the Grey Man podcast. Unheard, unfiltered, unforgettable stories with Australian veterans. Today we have a veteran of the Royal Australian Air Force, Jodi Allen. Jodi, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Not only a veteran of the Air Force, but also a veteran of the veteran space at this stage, doing a lot for the community and integrating yourself pretty well.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, how long have you been out for now?
20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, long time.
I've been 19 years out of full-time service.
Yeah, but I act like I got out yesterday.
That's how it works.
It's a little bit embarrassing.
Back in my time, last week. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Where do you hail from?
Oh, long time ago. So I'm a babe of the 70s. I was I was born on the central coast of New South Wales to teenage parents. My mum was 14 when she met my dad. By the time she was 16 and my dad was 19, I was born. So that caused a little
14 and your dad was 17.
Yeah, when they met, they were playing basketball together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they fell in love.
Playing basketball is like a recess.
Yeah.
Or fucking 3 years apart, they weren't on the same team, surely.
No, it was just, I think my dad was coaching them for a little while. There was a girls' basketball team, so
they weren't playing together. They met.
They met at the courts. And my mum wrote my dad a love letter and it all in her teenage years. What
did her dad think about that?
It didn't go down very well with the family. My mum was from quite a religious family, and of course, then when she was pregnant at 15, that didn't go down too well. But they were madly in love, and even though my grandparents did try to keep my parents separated, and there was a push for me to be adopted, especially in those days, in the 70s, it was actually not uncommon for young mothers to have their children adopted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's quite the push for that from the family.
Was there any decision with your mum and dad, or they were like, no, we're keeping her?
Yeah, it was never a question, amazingly, for such young people. Dad used to go and sneak love letters into the mailbox, and my mum would go out and read them, and that went on, I think, for weeks until my dad just went, no, that's it. We're going to make this work. So,
Was there any threats or anything between the families at that stage?
I'm pretty sure my granddad had like an air rifle or something or other, and he did threaten my dad with it. But my granddad would not have known how to use it. But it was, in that time, it was, it was not... It was like the world was against them, basically, and no one believed that they would make it.
Were those two families kind of nuclear families?
Yeah, so my dad was one of 7. My mum was one of 3, and both sides were really not that overly supportive. Because they were young, they were teenagers. They were babies having a baby, basically. But, when my dad tells the story, they never for a second thought, we can't do this. They lived in my dad's parents, my grandparents' garage. My dad was doing an apprenticeship as a wood machinist, and he was going to tech school at night. So my mum was looking after me as a baby at 16. My dad was working, going to tech, and supporting a family at 19. So, and then my brother was born 13 months later.
Oh my God.
So under
They
20,
didn't win the first time.
they're crazy. We're a family of 4.
What did the parents think about the second one? Were they like, oh, well, this is what they're doing, or are they
I
just as
think by
upset?
then, yeah, my folks got married.
Okay.
I was at the wedding as a baby. And I think they had to go to court for that to get, because they were both underage. So the judge was like, yeah, just go for it.
If you had ticked over to 18, was your mum 3 years younger?
Yeah.
If you had ticked over to 18 and she was still 15, would that then be
He could have gone
crime?
Yeah. Yeah. But they did go to court because they wanted to get married, and the judge was like, I wish you well.
Yeah.
And they did. They got married as soon as they could. And yeah, that was the beginning of our family of 4. And yeah, we had a great childhood, really, for all intents and purposes. We never felt like there were periods where my folks didn't have money, obviously in the early days. But, you know, growing up, never felt like we were going without anything, that's for sure.
Just 4 kids living together.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. They basically grew up together and were trying to work out how to also be a family. And my mum, you know, took to it really quickly. She had the budget sorted out. She'd have little envelopes, and this money would go to this and this money would go to that. And they'd have, you know, 50 cents left over to go and play a game of pool with their friends. And yeah, but we were always together as a family.
Cute. So the young love turned into a fairy tale?
Yeah, right up until my mum passed away. Yeah.
Yeah, when was that?
When mum was 60. So nearly about 9 years ago now. Yeah.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah. So they were thick as thieves and, you know, we had quite a nomadic childhood. So my dad he did his trade. I think back now with doing my own studies, my dad had a young family working, and at Tech, he became first. He graduated as first in the state. So, you know, he worked really hard, and, you know, that was for the remainder of his life, just kept working hard, and stumbled across music when my brother and I were little as well. So he would do his trade during the day, and then at night and on the weekends he'd play in a band. He was a lead singer. He taught himself to play guitar. And so that started a lifelong music career as well.
That was before YouTube and that, wasn't it? So just taught himself with books.
Yeah, exactly. Completely self-taught. Yeah. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
What was the band called?
He had a band called the Jodi Allen Band that used to play in the Rocks in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
He had a band, I think one called Broken Wings, but he used to do all the cool 70s kind of music. And then
Cover band?
Yeah. Yeah, when he was younger. And then he had his own band in the 90s, 2000s up in Brisbane that was very successful with my cousins. So, yeah, always made money out of music as well.
Cool. Were you like a little backup singer or dancer or anything?
No, unfortunately, no musical talent went to Jodi Allen. My skills are elsewhere. It skipped me altogether.
Yeah, my daughter did. She sung the national anthem solo at the school assembly a few weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And me and my ex-wife were watching her going, where the fuck did she get that from? There's like 2 negatives make a positives.
I think that's how it works. It skips generations.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Proud dad moment.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, we were shocked. I filmed it. And as I was filming, I'm like, who is this?
Oh, I love it. That's great. God. Yeah.
Yeah. So no musical talents for yourself?
No.
Maybe for your girls? Do your girls have any?
No.
No, skip 2 generations this time.
Yeah. It went straight to my cousins. My cousins are in my dad's band and they're awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family affair.
That's right. Yeah.
So you got all nomadic. So when did you leave the Central Coast?
Oh, yeah, I think I was about 9 or 10. So we had a lot of fun when we were on the Central Coast. My folks were part of working at Old Sydney Town. So my dad was acting and singing there as well. My mum was the candle maker. So
like a theme park or
it
something?
was a theme park that was a replica of like Botany Bay in 1788. And my brother and I used to go there, and we real life family, but an acting family in that as well. My brother and I were like street kids, and we had the best time there, and we got to be extras in a TV show and stuff while we were there. So that was a lot of fun. We had some great times there. And
How old were you at that stage?
so just, yeah, I was probably about 8 or 9, and my brother was always, not far behind me. So yeah, we were in our early years of school, and school holidays and weekends were running around this, old Sydney town in, convict clothes, and we'd do dancing displays, and we were in the school and with Mr. Kenny and with our slate boards, and we'd pretend, to learn, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Were you getting paid?
Nope. My parents were.
Oh, they were.
They were getting paid, but we didn't. But we got paid. I remember getting for the TV show. We got paid really well. I did up a bicycle with my money. That was really cool gig. And I remember the food, the catering was amazing. They're my main things that I remember from that.
Bike and the catering.
Yeah.
Did that plant any seeds for wanting to continue acting?
Not really, but I think because I was a very shy kid, and quite insecure, really, those kind of things. I know I got to, put on different clothing and be a different identity, and it got me out of my shell, because I really, all through childhood, I found it hard to make friends purely out of my own lack of confidence. So things like that, I got to be someone else. So I can see the real draw card that people have to acting. It's a different persona, and you're someone else. So you're not being judged on who you are. So yeah.
Do you think that means that you're not really shy, you're just in the wrong environment because you can act, or you think that it gives you like you can sort of hide in this other personality?
Yeah, I think I don't know, it was moments of having fun and confidence and being something else in a sea of me really being painfully shy. And when I was a different character, there was, it was almost like it was empowering. So I guess there was always that potential there for me, but it had to be the environment that I was in, hence the stuff that I do now, talking in front of hundreds or thousands of people, small groups, big groups, on stage, not on stage. Like I can do it all now, and I love it. Whereas, when I was a kid, if a teacher said, Jodi, answer this question, I would go into this like shutdown, freeze. I would get this ringing in my ears where I'd go deaf. And yeah, it was like pain. It felt painful at the time. I would just go into a complete
paralysis almost.
Yeah, complete freeze. So it was really hard.
Equate to learning difficulties or anything?
I wouldn't say learning difficulties, but never to my full potential, again, because of the lack of self-confidence. So
they say that sort of self-confidence or fear of the pressure can equate to, doing bad in exams and all that sort of thing because
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, definitely when I went to uni, Yeah, I would go into freeze in exams, just that overwhelming, and I never knew what sympathetic nervous system activation, flight, fright, freeze kind of thing. I was never aware of what was actually happening. I would just go straight into it. And it was always a quick go-to, and there I was. So that definitely affected my self-belief, my confidence. So I always was average at school because I didn't believe that I could be anything more than average. And I never wanted to, speak up. I never wanted to stand up in front of people. So, yeah.
And you're saying you do it in front of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people now. Something in my throat. Is that yourself? Is you doing it as yourself, or are you pretending to be somebody else as you did when you were
Good
acting?
question. No, I'm myself now.
So you're 100% comfortable in your own skin now?
Yeah, because I think the best advice I got was from one of my mentors from uni, and Daniel Reuters, and he said to me, I had like imposter syndrome for years. And when I was going through uni and first graduated, and he said, just be yourself, and the magic of what you are and who you are is you. So just be yourself and own it. So there would always be a bit of performance anxiety and things like that. And I don't know everything. And he's like, you're not going to. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You've worked really hard. He could see from my first year of uni that I wasn't really. I had more potential than what I was actually showing. But he definitely taught me to just, what my kind of special thing is me, is my personality, my character, that kind of stuff, and just be myself. So that was really cool advice.
Good to go through to you.
Yeah, definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah. Nice. So going back to Travelling Gypsy, you went to Old Sydney Town.
Yeah, had a great
Little
time
child
there.
star.
Yeah.
Can we see you anywhere? Is there some files
deep
in YouTube that we could?
There's a random short, some moments in the TV show Runaway Island where my brother and I are extras. So yeah, it's
We'll look it up.
Yeah, don't Google it.
There'll definitely be some people Googling it, I think.
It was so
Jodi,
much.
Jodi.
No E. No E. Everyone puts an E on the end of it. But no, that was a lot. So we definitely didn't have a mainstream childhood. I did struggle we did move around a lot every couple of years. Apparently that was a lot down to my mum. My mum, I always thought it was my dad. We were following the music scene, which we did as well. But my mum could get quite restless.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know, I went to a new school probably every 2 to 3 years through my whole childhood. And I found that really hard because not only was I shy and found it difficult to make friends, I'd make friends and start to feel confident, and then off we'd go. And it was never a family discussion or anything. It's like, pack your room. We're off in 2 weeks, kind of thing. So I did find that really hard as a kid, and I get quite envious of anyone that has childhood best friends because I don't have that. But yeah, I did struggle with that.
Do you think that contributed to the shyness and not wanting to open up?
Yeah, I think so, because anytime I would start to feel comfortable, we're on the move again, and I'd start from scratch. And because I had no confidence, I would go to the library, or I'd sit in the doorway of a classroom and eat my lunch. Bit of a sad story. But it didn't help me at all. And it wasn't until I was in high school and I was feeling really, really low. And my mum said to me, my mum was very wise for such a young person. And she was like, people aren't going to come to you if you're, retreating in a corner somewhere. You've got to put yourself out there. So it wasn't until I started going to new high schools, more than one, I'd turn up to a new high school and go, hey, is there anyone I can hang out with? And someone would go, yeah, come and sit with us.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was grade 9. That didn't happen until grade 9 or 10. So I spent a long time sitting and eating lunch by myself.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Send gifts.
I had a very similar childhood, moving around all the time. Never really same, shy and withdrawn and scared to sort of speak up and be anybody. It wasn't until high school, I think, maybe in either late grade 8 or early grade 9. I think it was grade 9. I joined the basketball team, and that's where things turned around because those 7 dudes became my best friends, and then we did everything together, and we were quite popular. We used to win games, and
wow, yeah,
and that's where it all changed for me.
Great. You needed your a little tribe. Yeah. See, I was unco, so that didn't really work. I joined the hockey team, and they were like, "Can you? Yeah, no, just don't turn up to training."
How you feeling? Are you sick? You look sick. Should sit down.
You should be the water girl. I was a really good water girl. Yeah, that's it. Kind of it. I think it for even the shy, awkward, uncomfortable person. If you're just around the right people, it makes all the difference, doesn't it? The right environment or the right people can be a complete game changer.
Or even the right person. I remember it was one guy, Simon Maslak, his name is. Thanks, Simon. Changed my life, changed the trajectory of my life because he sort of, I don't know, he just took a liking to me, and he was really popular. Sort of took me under his wing and brought me into the cool crowd, and and he was on the team, and we played ball and we hung out together, and he always made room for me at lunch, and it changed my whole life.
Amazing. Yeah, one person can make a difference. Yeah, and you can be that person.
Yeah, you could do it for someone else. It's like that Shy Girl or whatever the movies are, where you get the nerdy little girl and some other popular kid takes them under their wing and gives them a makeover, and all of a sudden they're
that's kid. Why it's a popular storyline, because it's true, right?
It is,
makes all the difference.
Yeah. Someone a friend and a bit of confidence, and you can change the world.
And I think just because often when our self-talk and our self-belief is so poor and we get stuck in our head about it, it's really hard to step out of that, until someone comes along. And I've had some great mentors in my life, and I still have mentors that I go to now, that when the self-doubt creeps in, when the imposter syndrome creeps in, you really need those people in your corner, and even just your best friends. You don't need to have, for me, I don't have, a huge, massive friend base, but the tight-knit friendships that I have now, we add value to each other's lives that make a huge difference.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, not having that childhood friend circle, but having quality friends still.
Yeah, cool. Super important.
You found them.
Yep. Found my little tribe.
Better late than never.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so where to then?
So where did we go? So we went to Orange, my dad's birthplace, for a little while, froze our butts off there.
Country New South Wales?
Yeah, country New South Wales. I just remember being really cold there. And then my folks won the lot.
How's Orange? Cold.
Cold, yeah. That's the main memory. then my folks won the lotto.
Oof.
I think it was only about $400, but that was. I remember the numbers. You know, when the numbers used to come up, and I remember like, oh my God, we've won the lotto, and that was enough for Mum to go, we're getting out of Orange.
$400, Jesus.
$400, yeah. We moved then to Queensland, and that's when my dad got a job at Dreamworld as I remember, Kenny and Belinda, the koalas. My dad was part of the promo team.
The big walk around koalas.
Yeah, the big. Yeah, there's like real people in the koalas. They did like a promo tour, and my dad was one of the musos. He was on stage with Kenny and Belinda, and there was a gumnut fairy, and they did a promo tour. So he got a gig doing that. So we went to Queensland and lived down around the Gold Coast, Labrador and the Gold Coast. My mum worked at Magic Mountain. So there's a strong theme park theme in my family. So my mum was at Magic Mountain, which I don't think that doesn't exist anymore, but it's a theme park down the Gold Coast. So that's where I was going to high school. I did not thrive. By then, I did not thrive at high school.
Early high school? Early
high school. I finished
What school was this?
This was Beenleigh High. My brother did really...
Ghetto back then?
Shh. Maybe. So, look, my brother thrived there. He and his mates, my brother had a great time there. I did not. So I may have skipped. We did live in Adelaide for a while. So we lived in Adelaide before that. That was for the music scene. But that was only for, again, a brief period in time, I think maybe a year. So, no. See, my timeline's terrible. We did go to Adelaide, but that was after. So I did not thrive. But anyway, we don't need to go into every single place I lived because it's all a blur. But
so you went to Beenleigh High.
Beenleigh High.
Down in South Logan.
Did not thrive there.
And you were hanging out with koalas at the zoo?
Yeah, hanging out with koalas. And
did you have a little walk around as a homeless person at that one as well? Did you dress up as peasants?
No, I was a clown at Dreamworld. So I got a part-time job. I think I'm like skipping random multiple places where I lived. But anyway,
you're a nomad.
This could just go on forever. My childhood's not that exciting. But by the time I got to Beenleigh in high school, I had a part-time job. My mum was working at Dreamworld with the real koalas. By then, my dad was full-time muso. He had also had some great jobs working, I quickly digress, working as teaching trades to people with disabilities, which was really awesome. We got to spend time with those people that he worked with, which really opened a big compassion window for me in my teenage years. But skipping back to Dreamworld, I had a part-time job at Dreamworld. My mum was working there. Dad was a muso. He was playing at Expo 88. Remember Expo? Yeah, he was. Yeah, he played to over 1 million people.
I was 7.
Yeah. Okay. Shh. Okay, I was 7 plus a few years. Whatever. So I had a part-time job and I wasn't doing well at school, and my dad was like,
He was on stage playing to 1 million people.
Yeah.
I just skipped over that with my joke.
At Expo, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
He received an email recently from Expo saying with the records that he played to over 1 million people, 1 million visitors to Expo.
Oh, okay, not all in one.
Not all in one. Oh no, has anyone played to 1 million people? I don't know how
those big things over in Amsterdam and stuff where you see there's a sea of people, You
don't want to be the person at the back. No, it was collectively over a long period of time. He had a great time doing that. But so, I went to Dreamworld working part-time. But I had a lot of fun there. I was retail, during the day, but a clown in the afternoon. So again, wearing a costume and makeup and having a great time. Absolutely loved it. Run amok throughout the park, scared a lot of children. Had a great time with another guy who was a photographer, and he joined me as a clown in the afternoons. I loved it, but I would go home and I'd be depressed. So I was a depressed clown.
Sad clown.
I was a sad clown because I just thought, I was 17 and what am I doing with my life? Because originally when I'd gone to Adelaide and I was doing quite well in art and I was very creative, I thought I wanted to be an art teacher. But that kind of got sucked out of me by not having a great art teacher at Beenleigh High. He was not a very nice person, so not a nice teacher. So I lost my way. And
so
I thought,
if he wasn't a piece of shit, you might be an artist right now.
well, were my skills that good on that either? Pretty much like sport. I may have had an overinflated sense of how creative I was. But I think I would have been a cool art teacher. But yeah, I just didn't know what I wanted to do with myself then. And so I was quite depressed and moody, and my mum, I'll never forget it, was, you are like, there's more to Jodi Allen than meets the eye. You need to do something with yourself. And my brother had always wanted to join the RAF as a rad tech. So
communications.
Yeah. Radio technicians, so fixing things, very clever. And so Mum said, well, why don't you go and do something like that? So I did. I went, oh, okay, all right. So they wanted me to leave home really soon. And they got their wish.
They're like, buddy, when I was your age, I had a 2-year-old daughter. And
that's right.
I was married with a 2-year-old living in a garage.
My dad does it now with like teenagers. Like, to think that we had a whole family. I'm like, oh my God, no. So yeah, they were very keen for me to leave home. So yeah,
because they never had a life of their own.
That's right. So they were empty nesters in their early 30s. I mean, how smart is that? My brother joined brother joined the year after me.
They've done it all.
Yeah. So I went off to recruiting, and I would have done anything. I would have taken whatever. But luckily it was the Air Force that took me. I don't think I would have survived in the Army very well. But yeah, so I did have to go back. I was very underweight. It was like 48 kilos. I was tiny.
48?
48 kilos.
Well, 10-year-olds, bloody.
Yeah, I joined the Air Force at 48 kilos. They said, go away, go put on some weight. So I had a big breakfast. It did not work.
Held your shit. Had a big breakfast, didn't go to the toilet, went straight in there.
And the recruiter was like, yeah, okay, nice try. Goes, don't worry, you'll put on weight. So by the time you get to Wagga, you'll put on weight. So he was correct. So off I went. And
was there any reason 17. For that, do you think? The underweight thing was part of your depression? Or?
Yeah, I didn't eat a lot. And yeah, possibly. I never really thought about it like that. But yeah, not a lot of appetite.
Weren't anorexic or anything? Just
No, not then. No. Just I think part genetics and, part being a little bit depressed and, yeah.
Not real hungry.
No, which is common. And so off I went and then became ravenous by the time I went to recruit training. Eat bloody anything.
Smash some food in a mess.
So went off to Edinburgh. We had to bus it because that was when there were airline strikes. So we had to bus it from Brisbane to all the way to Edinburgh. That was funny.
Want to give me a good chance to get to know people before you got there?
Yeah. And we're still my 54 of 89 recruit school. We had a reunion, our 35-year reunion last year, and they're just a bunch of awesome people. And that was my first. I know, like it really. I got a lot of drive and, found my tribe, I guess. And from then on, you join
Was
the
that
military.
instantaneous or it took a while?
I think it was pretty instantaneous because you're going through recruit training together. You don't have time to be shy. You don't have it's just there's no choice.
Mm.
You got to be out in the parade ground. You got to get up at the same time. You got to polish your boots like everyone else. There was no time to be shy. And I even remember, exercise was never a big thing for me. I tried to train a little bit before I went to recruits. It was, not very. My dad used to drive 2.4 Ks in the car and then wait for me. And he'd wonder, like, what the hell is she doing? And I'd stop and talk to the cows on the way. It was just so, it was never really exercise was never really a big thing for me. And I'm unco, so exercise sport didn't really exist. So I remember the first the run that we were supposed to do, the 2.4, and I had started walking and the PDI is like, yelling at me, no one walks on my, 2.4. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can't, I've got to bring it here.
Did they have fitness, like the pre-entry physical testing back then?
Nope. No. Only the aptitude testing.
Okay.
So yeah, no physical test. It was, you get there and then you.
Did a lot of people get?
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember a few of us walking because we were unfit and we got into a lot of trouble and I never walked again, let me tell you. And I think that sparked very much a competitive kind of streak that I never knew that I had as well, which from then on, exercise has always been a huge part of my life from then on, really. Okay. Yeah. So I did that for a few months and then went to my trade training at Wagga, was in those days.
So where was recruit school?
So recruits in those days was at Edinburgh in Adelaide. It's now in Wagga. But my trade training was in Wagga, so it's a trade training base. So a lot of the techos, there were apprentices there, RAF apprentices, guys doing their tech trades, and also us. I was doing a supply trade, but also Clark Supplies and that as well. So it was a big training base.
What was your job?
Supply. So I joined up as, I didn't know what that was when I joined up. It was like, oh, you're taking those soon. Okay, I'll do that.
Is that the army equivalent of a QE?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like warehousing, that kind of supply.
Issuing out kit and weapons.
And, all that kind of stuff. So, but then went to my first posting, 1SD, Tottenham, down in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, and that was my first posting. And I turned 18 at my first posting. So
17 all through recruit school and trade school.
Yep. I was a babe.
Did you get fed illegal alcohol?
Where are you going with this?
Did you sneak some alcohol? Yeah.
At Rookies, you had to work behind the bar. I was like underage working behind the bar, just alcohol. I never drank prior to joining. There was, like on the weekends when we were allowed off base and stuff. Should I reveal that? I had my girlfriends.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. I had my girlfriend. She's lived in Tasmania. It was just like a paper. Those days, it was a paper ID with no photo. So
you don't have to say who she was.
I learned her birth date and details off by heart. So yeah.
No photo on the IDs.
No photo. She had a Tasmanian.
How old are you?
So I learned all of her personal details and used to get into nightclubs underage. But I think that was a huge. If you never
drank before, tell me about the first time you got hammered. Did you know?
Oh, I don't remember, but
what were you told afterwards?
Was
Was it Eric critical?
Kind of submitted. Yeah, I said I was very much in peer pressure. I would just do what everyone else was doing. And yeah, got sucked into it really easily. And that carried on for the rest of my career. Massive FOMO and
because you grew up without all the friendship circles and stuff.
Yeah. So and that's the same with my first posting. The boozer, we all lived in those days, in the 90s. A majority of us were single, solo, living on base. And so I played every sport. I'd go to the gym a couple of times a day. I was running 8 to 10 Ks a day. I was playing.
Yeah. You got fit, but you didn't tell me about your first alcohol experience.
But this is what
Did you wake up naked in a tree or something?
I may have been found walking around the base with, what do they call it? The goon.
Goon box.
And it was port. I had drank a whole couple of litres of port, and I was walking around the base with this empty flagon
a pillow.
Port. I really liked port. I had mature taste. It's shocking.
Did you end up getting sick? Throwing your guts up?
Oh.
Getting your stomach pumped or anything?
Well, no, I wasn't a big spewer in those days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble at all for being 17?
No, because it was just it was what we did. Huge drinking culture. The boozer was my lounge room, basically. We would go to the boozer and watch movies or hang out. It was the boozer. And that was
the good old days when drinks were $2 and
and that's it. It was subsidized alcohol. I trained hard and worked hard during the day, and I had a very physically demanding job for someone who was only 48, 50 kilos by then. I was lifting heavy stuff during the day because we were, 1SD was like a spares parts aircraft, all parts depot. So I was lifting heavy stuff way beyond what my small body was capable of. But I would just work hard during the day, party hard at night, every night, pretty much. It was, that was the vibe. And then my brother joined the RAF the next year, and he was posted. He was doing his training at Laverton, and that was great fun. It was such a great time for my brother and I to spend time in the Air Force together, and we'd both visit each other's bases and friends, and all my friends would go and watch him play rugby league. He was an amazing rugby league player. It was, and he'd come over to the pay nights, the Nucks, that I was the entertainments member of the Airmen's Committee. So I would organise all the bands and DJs and that for our parties on base, and it was just what we did.
Nice,
good fun, good times. So definitely found my tribe and started chipping away at that whole confidence thing, and I had friends, and I loved it and thrived. Spent a couple of years there. Met my first husband there. He was in supply as well at the time.
First of many.
First of only two. Just like to rack them up. And then I got.
He was in supply as well, you said?
He was in supply at the time. There. And then I got posted to Amberley, so I got to go home, which was great, and I was near my folks, so I got to I lived on base again at Amberley because my first husband, we weren't married at the time, but he was still down in Melbourne, so I lived on base and would go home and spend time with my folks, and that was a good time. And
did that subdue your party repertoire?
No. That didn't really start until about 45. Yeah, I had a great time there, and I was posted to 501 wing. So that was like an aircraft wing, maintenance wing for the F-111 aircraft.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that. I went on an exchange with the Navy, went to HMAS Cairns on an exchange. Loved that. Absolutely loved that. Went out on a patrol boat, survey boat. We had this.
Exchanges, and they exchanged a Raffy and a Navy Storby.
Yeah. So a Navy guy would come down to Amberley, and an Air Force person would go up to HMAS Cairns, and they lived in they had a motel. Their on-base accommodation was a motel in Cairns. So you can imagine what kind of trouble we got up to. So that was a great memory. Had a lot of fun there and really enjoyed.
Who parties harder, buses or Air Force?
Geez. It's a fine line. But no, that was a great experience. And then I got got married, and then during that time, I really started experiencing really severe chronic back pain. I was already started creeping in when I was at the stores depot with lifting all the heavy stuff. But I was heavily into training and running and part of the triathlon club on base. And it got to a point where I couldn't walk without pain. So it was always, just go and get some physio. Here's some painkillers. I went through that for about a year or two, and then proper investigation. I was diagnosed with spondylolisthesis, which is pretty common, but at the time it was causing me like a lot of grief, and it was degenerative. So it was getting worse and worse. Over my time at Amberley, over the course of a year, I went from just being in a lot of pain to having severe sciatica, not being able to exercise, not being able to walk 100 meters without pain, like terrible time. So I went to multiple specialists and got told by one, we won't do anything until you're in a wheelchair. It'll degenerate. You're at a level 2, 3 now. It goes from level 1 to 4, 4 being the most severe, 1 being quite common. And so in a short period of time, I went from level 2 to 3, and it was not getting any better. So I saw an amazing surgeon, Dr. Jeffrey Askin, who still works in Brisbane as a neurosurgeon now, and he is amazing. And he's like, you're young, you're fit, let's do it. So I had a spinal fusion. But he was amazing because he could see you're young, you're fit, let's do it now because you'll recover quicker. So I was only, I can't remember how old I was, but I'm maybe 23, I think this was. So I had a laminectomy, a bone graft from my hip, fused with bolts, titanium bolts, plates, all that kind of stuff. So L5S1 is fused solid. In those days, they went through your back and fused with the bolts and plates. And yeah, I worked really hard through rehab. At the time, I was working with a couple of guys that were experiencing chronic back pain, and it was consuming their lives, and mine was consuming me, and they pretty much lived their lives around their pain. And they were great teachers for me because they were older. They were like in their 40s, maybe. And I think one of them was in his early 50s. And I thought, I'm in my early 20s, and my life of back pain starts now. I cannot be that. So I worked really hard with Dr. Askin, and I did hydrotherapy. One of the PDIs, even though my ex-husband was a PDI at the time, Johnny Alves, he legend PDI, he helped me train for the next 12 months after my spinal fusion. and I did my 2.4 within 12 months. I was back to running, everything. And I stayed in the RAF for another 10 years after that.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you're a advocate for the success of surgery. Well, you said that they did the bone graft, they went through your spine.
Yeah.
Then what do they do now?
It's different now for people that I've met that have had spinal fusions. Now they go through the front.
Oh God.
Yeah. You imagine the recovery from going through your internal organs. But now they use like a flexible cage around your vertebrae. So spondylolisthesis is when a vertebrae slips forward and over your other vertebrae. And for me, they just, took the vertebrae out and then fused my spine together. Whereas now they can use things like they can use like a bovine or false vertebrae in there and like a flexible cage around it. So you still have flexion, mobility in your lower spine, but it's more like, you imagine going for the front. It sounds way more invasive to me, but the flexibility and the mobility that you have, like for me, I'm fused solid. And even though I'm a yoga teacher and I pretend surf, I can't, there's no flexion. I'm very, I can't do a cobra and things like that. So I kind of like adaptive yoga and adaptive surfing, just meeting my back where it's at.
Do you get any pain when you do those movements?
Yeah, definitely. But I know it's all so. My surgeon or Dr. Askin was, you can basically do anything, because I didn't trust my spine. I guess if anyone's had major surgery, it's hard to explain, but for me, I didn't trust my back. When I had to learn, like I've got foreign bodies in my back and what can I do, what I can't do. And Dr. Askin was amazing. While a lot of people are, don't do that, or, oh, you should lay down. He was, you can do anything bar play impact sport. So, but I had to learn for me individually what things make it worse, what things make it better, and also the length of pain involved. So for surfing, it really hurts my back not while I'm doing it because I'm on such a high, I'm having such a great time, but the next day or two, I'm in pain. But for me, I know now that it's a short-term pain, and I've got recovery things that I've got, I'll do ice bath, then I'll do waving my hands around. I'm not sure how the hands are involved in ice baths, but I'll do, sauna. I've got a massage gun. I might take some Nurofen, some Panadol in the next, 24, 48 hours. I know it will pass. So,
the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, definitely. When you're out like last year, I was out there, maybe not catching waves, but there were dolphins. I was on my board and there were dolphins. I'm like, amazing. And that day I did not catch a wave, but I saw one of my mates who's an ex-Raffie on a wave, like catching a wave past me. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm yelling out his name and I'm like, Webby. And he's like, oh my God, Jodi Allen. And so we're trying to paddle on our boards and hug on our long boards. And he's like, oh my God, there's dolphins. So I might be sore for a couple of days, but man, it's worth it. And same with yoga. I've just learned, I go to the gym, I do weights as heavy as I can a few days a week, but I've learned what I can do and what I can't do. And that's been a huge part of me for my mental health. Because when, like being medically discharged, skip 10 years down to the end where I was medically discharged because of my back, it was a huge focus on what I couldn't do.
To play devil's advocate, you said that the surgery was a huge success, changed your life for the positive. How would that differ from if you didn't get the surgery, if you still get pain and you still have to manage it day to day?
If I had, what would my
What would
life be
be your
like if
situation
I?
right now? Yeah, if you didn't get the surgery, because it would be the same treatment process of being careful what you do, doing the correct strength techniques and procedures.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know, because I guess it's the unknown, isn't it? That if I hadn't had the surgery, I believe I would have been medically discharged a lot sooner, because I was in so much pain and I could barely move by the time I had my spinal fusion.
Okay.
So, uh, and there's further degeneration now because my spinal fusion is old. And, but when I see Dr. Askin, he's going, you're managing it. You may need another fusion down the track, but while you're managing it, let's leave it alone. So, whilst it's worked for me, I do know that there's people that have had spinal fusions that it's not worked for them. So I can only be an advocate for it for me, for myself, and I don't regret it. There was a lot of fear. You have to sign a waiver to say that you may wake up paralyzed. And I remember crying with my parents as I was signing it. Like that was a huge risk, but the other it was already taking so much of my life and quality of life from me, because I was a huge in the previous 4 years, like running was like a drug for me. And I loved it. It was a huge part of and fitness and going to the gym, because I lived on base. Going to the gym every day was a huge part of my social life as well. So having that felt like taken away from me because of my back in when I was so young.
It
So
basically gave you a reason to step back and focus on your rehab,
yeah.
and then the confidence to
And
move forward.
I worked really hard on my rehab. I did everything I was told to do. I had amazing physio on base. Um, and I had a physio that also introduced Pilates, a reformer, onto base as well. That was kind of almost revolutionary kind of thing. I was a bit of his guinea pig. That was actually just before I medically discharged. He did everything he could to try and help me to stay in. But by the time, skipping forward to the time I was getting out, I was posted to 382 ECSS Expeditionary Combat Support Unit, and I was explosives and dangerous goods trained. So we would have these secondary duties. So my duties during the day were I was in charge of, a small team of like 15 troops in the supply field, but my secondary duty was to set up these explosives compounds if I was ever to go on deployment. But my back was just in no condition by then. I went out on exercise. I couldn't carry my pack. That were led to the demise of, okay, you can't perform this secondary role. Well, I could do my day-to-day job really well. I could not function and do my deployable role, which led to my medical discharge.
So you were at 24, 4 years in, you got your surgery? No,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
have been 24. Like
Yeah,
21.
20, yeah.
4 years in.
Yeah.
About 4 years in, you got surgery. You did another 10 years after that.
Yeah, yeah.
So where were you after you finished your rehab and stuff? Are you still at Amberley?
Yeah, I was at Amberley for a little while, and then my first husband, he went on a PDI course, and he was posted to Melbourne. So I went out of mustering, posted to Melbourne. So that did hold up my promotion, but I had really cool jobs down there. I got posted out of my normal mustering as a supplier, and had a great job at the Defence International Training Centre down there. Love that. I was the equipment liaison officer there.
And that's a tri-service thing?
Yeah, tri-service unit. And it was teaching over military members from over 50 different foreign nations.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to be exposed to a lot of different people there and had to do presentations in front of groups and things like that. So that was a bit of a confidence thing. That's when I first started speaking in front of people about what things I could do to help all the students while they were there. And I love that job. And I had a really cool boss, Lieutenant Colonel Rawson, Dave Rawson from the Army. He had a huge belief in me and my abilities, and he would push me out of my comfort zone all the time. And he was a strong advocate for me to be promoted. So he did push for me to get promoted to corporal, but he wanted me to push higher than that. So I got a scholarship at that time to study a logistics degree to become a logistics officer. And he gave me mentors, Army mentors, and I started studying a business logistics degree. Then that was my first foray into, academics after, leaving school in grade 11, not even finishing high school. And yeah, that gave me a lot of drive to learn.
Did you follow through and join the dark side or what?
No, I was medically discharged before. So I think I did about nearly 2 years of that degree. And yeah, I ended up getting out. So I never finished it because I didn't really love that kind of thing anyway. Kind of worked out for the best.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you were struggling with the secondary role, not being able to carry your pack and stuff. You're doing field duties like Army sort of stuff.
Yeah. We were going, even though there were at that time, there were no deployments, but we were moving into East Timor then as well. So there was the possibility of really, like I was in the 90s in a very quiet time.
Yeah, you're in peacetime.
I was in the peacetime, and we're experiencing that again right now. So, I didn't have the opportunity to go. And by the time that I was being trained to go, it was, you're in no physical state you're not going to be able to do this. And it was gut wrenching because if I'd been asked to go, I would have gone. Is that also a thing? Am I lucky I didn't ever end up on deployment? So you kind of got to think about that as well. But if I'd had the opportunity, I would have. But yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you always feel like you missed out. You spend your career hoping and training for the game that you never get to play.
Yeah.
But then you see the people that come back from that game and they're all fucked up.
And exactly on that, the last group of commandos that I went away with down in Tasmania the year before last, and they were the guys that have been on multiple, 7 bloody deployments, and then they've got the young guys that are in training, and they're like, all I do is train, and I don't get to see. I'm not getting to see I'm not getting to do what I'm training for. And the old guys are in the corner going, mate, be careful what you wish for. Look at us, half of us our kids don't talk to us. We're divorced. Our wives hate us. Be careful what you wish for. And I always think of them that we're going through another stage of that now. There's a lot of training, and there's no active deployments going on. We're going to see another wave of that. And for me, I have these conversations a lot too, that I may have been in for 14 years. I wanted to be a lifer. That didn't eventuate. Don't like calling myself a veteran. I say to people, I'm ex-serving or I'm ex-Air Force, because I feel like there's strong opinions around it as well, that veteran, even though I qualify and classify for it, doesn't sit comfortably for me. My dad's father was a rat of Tobruk, wounded multiple times, lost his arm serving, was in a mental hospital when he came back for a year. He had the trauma and horrors of war. And I always think of him, and as a veteran, but it is a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah.
And people have very strong opinions about it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think there needs to be a better label than 24 hours of service. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a piss take. It used to be somebody that had deployed, like a veteran was somebody that had done combat service, which maybe was too much, especially when there's no combat service available, like in your era and in this current one coming up. Everybody's, single swingers these days with their Coke bottles and their ADMs. But then, the just doing 24 hours of Kapuka, like, come on.
But as we know, Harley, that they're the greatest risk. We know that the shorter period of time that someone is in, especially when you join up and you think this is my career, and
they get injured.
They get injured.
Yeah, that's a different kettle of fish. The ones that get injured and are legitimately pushed out, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
I think we've got to clarify.
They have taken from them,
Yeah.
Whereas somebody that chooses to leave because it's not what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that shouldn't be called. Like, stop trying to be a veteran and get on with your life. If that's
because
sometimes you tried it, you didn't like it, you left.
Yeah, it's it is a tricky one, isn't it? And the whole in the veteran space that I work in now, there is a lot of that, trying to get beyond the victim mentality and that as well. And what can I, what's in it for me? What can I get? What can I not pay for?
Daddy DVA.
Yeah, it is a bit of a tricky one, but I think we've all got our different, stories. And for me, it was, getting medically discharged was really, really difficult, because not that being deployed was on the top of my to-do list, but I thought I was going to be a lifer. I fully planned on, I joined up at 17. And I think the problem for me is that my identity became so attached to being, hi, I'm Jodi, I'm in the Air Force, and people go, oh, wow, that's interesting. And then it was, hi, I'm Jodi. I'm a civvy. I don't know how to be a civvy. I don't know what I want to do. What do I want to do when I grow up? Because I never gave it a thought while I was in. And, there's this, a common saying, they train you to go to war, but there's no de-escalation of the training for you to become a civvy. They don't train you to leave. And it was
your case, especially people that are getting in when they're kids, 17.
Yep.
100% just a kid. You've got girls that have gone through that age.
Yeah.
It's and it is your identity. It's who you are. Your formative years are there. You develop your whole identity built around, and you tell people, and it's a cool story. Like, I'm in the Air Force. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, so interesting. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm an accountant, you're like, oh, cool. What's for dinner?
Yeah.
So it becomes entwined with everything about your personality, and then to break that when you think you're going to be a lifer. So how did you get through?
I really struggled in the first weeks of uniform off, civvies on, no job. DVA was very much a focus of, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can only work this many hours, or we'll put you on
money we give you.
We'll put you on incapacity payments, but you can only do this, and there was no, now I know they have transition seminars and things like that, or even going on to, maybe a small business, being a business owner. Or it was like, oh, you can maybe work part-time in an office job. So for me, that was not filling my cup. And so, you know, I was depressed. I was crying myself to sleep every night. It was not a great time until thankfully I got a job really quickly. And the job that I went for, the guy that was interviewing was ex-army. So he was like, yeah, come on, mate. No one really got us because we turned up to work earlier than everyone else. But I was grateful for that, even though the job was, you know, it's just like an average office job, but it did quickly give me routine again and structure, and I've got to be here at this, you know, time and place, and I had a very strong work ethic. So that was pretty much, I think, if I hadn't have had a job to go to, I think I would have stayed in the depressed state even longer, for sure.
Who'd you have around at this time?
That I had my second husband, who I met in the RAF at Amberley, just, you know, in the year or two before I was getting out. So he was still in. He was working on the F111s as a techo, but he was still in, and he was traveling a lot with the F111. He's going to Malaysia and Vegas. He was having a great time. So I was like, see ya. So he didn't really obviously get what I was going through until it was his time to get out, not that long after. But so I felt all my friends were still in. I felt very isolated, very alone, like I'd lost my tribe, you know, because all my friends were, you know, serving. So
Were they supportive and trying to help you through it, or they didn't know how to?
yeah, probably. Like they were there, but they were still in. So again, you know, it's not like they weren't supportive, but you know, they were all spread out at their different bases around Australia and that as well. So you know, I wasn't seeing them day to day kind of thing. So yeah.
What about your parents and your?
Yeah, I think I remember my dad saying to me, seeing that I was struggling, and he said, you know, you've just been institutionalized. You know, you've got to, and I was offended when he said that, but he was so, I'd been institutionalized and in a safe environment from a teenager. From 17. I may say I left home at 17, but I went from one family to another because it is like family. And especially in the 90s and 2000s, a lot of people, we lived on base, you know, we lived and breathed. I would go water skiing on the weekends with my RAFI mates. I would go and play hockey with my RAFI mates. You know, it was like 24/7. So when he said that, I was like, oh, so offensive. But he was right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. And then, you know, so I had my first child, then I had my second child, and I am very grateful that
When you're in or when you got out?
When I got out. So that was like, okay, new purpose, kids. and it was great because I could solely focus on them, and
Maybe a good distraction.
it was a good distraction, and I loved being a mum, and was very busy at that. And then when my youngest went to school, that was I've got more time on my hands.
Oh, so they're both at school.
Yeah, but they were both, by the time my youngest went to school, it was back to
Did you have any therapy through that transition period?
No, I should have. Definitely.
Just slugged it out alone.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I've just got to get through it. I've just got to, you know, suck it up, and you know, you'll be right. Everyone's like, you'll be right. You'll be right. You know, like, she'll be right. Like, yeah, okay, I'll be right. I'll be right. So I just kept, you know, slogging it out, but I kind of wish I'd had some extra support during that time. And that's, you know, when my youngest went to school, I was like, okay, I cannot be staying at home without this purpose every day of, you know, raising my kids, and that they're off in the school system. I got to do something.
So the job with the army guy didn't last too long?
No, no. I was there for about maybe a year, I think. Nah. And then, and it was a lot of sitting and it was not stimulating. So I didn't stay there. And then, okay, I'll have kids. And so I enjoyed being home with them, but definitely needed something more. And that's why I thought, I need to do something. And it's funny when you start saying to people, I'm going to study, I might do this, I might do that. And everyone's like, oh, why would you want to do that? Or my folks are like, oh, no, that's, you weren't very good at school. So no, why would you want to do that? So, I would recommend if you want to do something like that, don't tell everyone. Talk to people that are actually doing it or have done it. And because a lot of people put their, well, I wouldn't do that. So why would you? Why would you want to do that? And that reeks of effort, which it is a lot of effort. But I had to think of, what I've always been interested in. And I being, doing a lot of sport and a lot of exercise and that while I was in, and I was mostly vegetarian while I was in. I was often anemic, fatigued. I was diagnosed with IBS. But that I know now that was when I was going through a stressful divorce with my first husband. But there was no go and do this. Here's some natural things for you to do. And it was the gastroenterologist patting me on my shoulder and going, darling, you've got irritable bowel syndrome. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just stressed. You need to go and look after yourself. I didn't know what that looked like or what I should do.
Run more.
Yeah, just run more, stress myself out more. So I thought, I've always been interested in nutrition. And so I went to uni and studied nutrition. And
This is when the kids just went to school?
Yeah, they were young. Unfortunately, in that time, my mum was diagnosed with terminal bowel cancer. I went through divorce with my second husband. And I was at uni and I also had like 2 jobs trying to get through it all. So that was probably the worst period of my life. I got shingles. I was in that much stress. I didn't sleep. My oldest really suffered with her dad leaving. So that was a really difficult time. So I was going through my own mental health stuff with, losing my mom, marriage, all that kind of stuff. So but I just kept going, just kept moving forward. And for me, visualization is a huge part of me breaking through barriers. And it was, I just visualized the cape and the hat, graduating. And it was, I can do it. I just got to stay the course. I can do it. So
this is in nutrition?
That was I did a Bachelor of Health Science in Nutritional Medicine with Torrens Uni.
Did you do it full-time or part-time?
I did parts of it full-time, and then as heading into divorce and my mum terminally ill, I went to part-time. But I also had 2 part-time jobs in that time as well. So I was trying to juggle a lot, and my health went. I was doing a health science degree and my health was not good. But I got there. My nana, my mum's mum, I think she cried through my whole graduation ceremony, and it was a miracle. I graduated and I got asked to do the graduation speech for my whole cohort. It was like a year after I finished uni. But I was pretty proud to be able to do that because it was a miracle. I graduated.
Against all odds.
But I did it.
Good job.
Yeah. And then that's just led me onto this path now of being at the time when I first graduated, just being asked to, can you do this presentation and can you combine it with this? And I was already practicing yoga with my mum. My mum loved yoga. So she would, get me a pass and I'd go and join mum when my kids were really little, even before they were born. I'd go to a yoga treatment with my mum and loved yoga
School
myself.
down the Gold Coast?
Yeah, they're all they live at a place called Buccaneers. So about 40 minutes from Brisbane. So it's halfway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So I'd go and...
Can't believe there's a place I've never heard of.
But you know Logan Village on the back way out to Tambourine Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got acreage there. So
nice.
yeah, they've been there for a long time. Dad built the house there, and he's still there.
Beautiful spot out there.
Yeah, it's lovely. And so yoga was always a big part of practicing and helping me with my back pain and my mental health as well.
Is that always, like even when you're at Emily and stuff, or just
not
in the last
until
few years?
No, not until probably a couple of years after I got out. My mum started going to just a local yoga studio and just fully immersed herself into yoga, Buddhism, just absolutely loved it. And started saying, you should come along to yoga with me. And I loved it. So I did my yoga teacher training certificate while I was at uni, going through all of the other stuff because it wasn't enough what I was already doing. And Mark Diplock at Mates for Mates gave me the opportunity to teach yoga while learning to teach yoga.
How'd you meet him?
So beautiful Meredith, who I was studying with. I served in the Air Force with her sister, Bronnie. I saw her in her exam. I'm like, hey, what a small world. So we were doing the same degree. And she was the yoga teacher at the time at Mates. And her husband is an ex-Air Force pilot. He was posted. So I was going along and just practicing her yoga. And she's like, you would be really good at this. So they gave me the opportunity to teach and learn while I was there. And the mates were very kind to me and let me get my yogi on there. And yeah, that was the start of my yoga career and combining the nutrition and that as well.
So how much longer did it take you to get qualified once you started on the job training?
I think it was about 18 months of studying to be a yoga teacher. Wow. Yeah. So it can take depends on how you study. But I was trying to do my degree as well. So it took me about 18 months to get my yoga teacher certificate. And then I went on to do some specific trauma-informed yoga, which most yoga should be trauma-informed anyway, but it's just how we use our language. We don't touch or assist. We're not trying to push them into a pretzel. We're just more aware of the needs of the people, the veterans, first responders that we're teaching. What they're bringing to the mat physically and mentally. We're just very much more aware of how we teach and very sensitive to those things. And I love it.
You're very good at it. That's where we first met, Mates for Mates doing yoga.
Yeah.
Sleepy yoga.
Sleepy yoga, they call it. Yeah.
100%. Guaranteed to make me fall asleep every time. I think I've woken up.
Yeah.
I might have been you that was doing it. I woke up and there was nobody else in there. Like, it was just alone laying on a mat by myself.
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times.
Everyone's just bailed.
Everyone's packing up, and that's when you know you've really hit the
gone into a full deep sleep.
Yeah, it's great. It's my superpower. I love it. It's incredibly rewarding just being able to give people the ability to switch off, because often they don't feel safe in their environment. That's like teaching with the commandos. You're challenging them with the yoga, and because they're like built like brick shit houses, incredibly inflexible, challenging them with the yoga moves and then getting them to do a body scan and making them feel safe in the end, where they're all just having a little snooze. They're not worried about, entry, exits. Am I safe here? They're often quite hypervigilant. I love being able to create that safe space for anyone that comes to my practice and just be able to switch off. It's very powerful stuff. We all need it.
Yeah, no, it's really good. You with the working with veterans and stuff now, do you have anything to do with the transition process?
Not specifically. I work with multiple different organisations now, just contracting and not specifically transition focused, but it can often be part of their journey wherever I meet them along the way with whatever organisation I manage to touch base with them with, whether it's it was Mates for Mates, Buddy Up Australia. I'm their ambassador for nutrition, but get to do some cool stuff with them. For Aussie Heroes Foundation. So yeah, get to meet them in all different realms.
Who's your favourite?
Oh, we don't play favourites. I've got. It is. I had this discussion with a colleague the other day, like the ex-service organisations. It's a bit of a tricky space to be in, who to work with. Because a lot of people have their heart in the right place, and there's thousands of different, charities and organisations that people want to help other people. But yeah, sometimes hurt people. They haven't quite done the work on themselves yet, but they want to help others, and they can sometimes cause more harm than good. So it can be a bit tricky trying to align with organisations that are doing the right thing, and it's all about the people that they're serving, not about themselves. So I've had to leave some organisations because of that. I think it's super important to always work with where your values align.
Yeah.
And for me, working with organisations where there is no ego and it's about who are we here to help and serve, that's the most rewarding thing, when you're aligned with people and organisations that are there for the good of other people. It's incredibly rewarding. It's like I was only this morning realising I've always been involved in volunteering. Like when I first got out, I volunteered with one of my mates. She was an ex-RAF photographer. We volunteered for like a year with Meals on Wheels.
Right.
And that was not anything to do with veterans or first responders, but it was an act of service. And we knew that we were sometimes the only social connection that some of these people that we were delivering meals to. And it gave us and we were doing it together, it gave us such meaningful connection, and we were doing it together. So it was social and that as well.
Just as cathartic for you as it was for the people you're helping.
Yeah. And so I think even it doesn't always have to be meaningful employment. Like I did a lot of volunteering at my kids' school, their primary school, and helped a lot of improvements with the school. And now I volunteer with, I'm on the committee for the Association of Veteran Surfers up in the sunny coast. Like I live in Brisbane. I'm not close. I don't get to always be there and go surfing with them, but we've, got some awesome funding to help, our association get more surfboards so we can do some more learn to surf, courses and things like that. So doing things like that, it doesn't always have to be paid either. It's Yeah, but it's, you know, coming back to why am I doing this? You know, what are the, you know, what are the people getting out of it? What am I getting out of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have to come up and check out that veteran surfers one. I know a lot of the Soldier Recovery Centre was sending the transitions course up there on the last week of course
Ah,
to do a day with them, the veteran surfers, and
yeah.
that's that old Commando warrant officer or something, wasn't it? That runs that.
Ah, yes. Originally formed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
and
not
then there's
part of it
a
anymore.
MMA veterans grappling as well. That they were sort of aligned at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, so there's, I think it's, you know, you can find your people, and
Oh yeah, everything.
yeah, there's
Doesn't
so
matter what
many.
you like to do. There'll be
Yeah,
some sort of veteran club doing it.
yeah, exactly. I just yeah, I think it's like tread with caution with some of them though. It's
Yeah. We have had this discussion many times with many different
yes.
people, especially clinicians like myself as an exercise physiologist and yourself as. Did you do any sort of study in the mental health stuff? Because I know you're pretty switched on with that as well, the wellness side of things.
Yes, I got a scholarship with the RSL to, I was going to be a peer person on the STAIR program with mates, but so I did the diploma of counselling with a few other veterans, but they never took us up in doing it for the opportunity, unfortunately. I did a few STAIR courses with one of the mates' psychs, which I got a lot out of. So now I'm doing my master's of a master of counselling. So because a lot of what I do has that mental health focus, and
Yeah,
I
it does.
want to be able to, I may have skills and experience, but I want to have that backing. And that's why I'm also probably a bit more cautious as well of um, some people working in this space and saying, "Hey, I'll make you feel better. I can heal you or whatever." And you think, "Oh, what are your qualifications?" So I'm always aware of my own and my own limitations, and you know, just forever learning. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm loving the masters and what I'm getting out of it, and I know that I'll be able to then help more people and be even more knowledgeable, have more skills moving forward. So,
Is that like an online thing or you go to uni?
no, that's through Torrens Uni where I did my
Yeah,
degree. I got a
Torrens free.
Torrens. It's an international uni, but it's hands-on, face-to-face on campus as well as,
Okay.
or they all do a bit of online. Now
Yeah, they do now
a
after
bit
COVID.
blended.
Yeah,
It's the new world. It's
I used to work
perfect.
at UQ as a tutor, and yeah,
Oh right.
lost my job when COVID hit.
Oh
Us casual academics are the first
yeah.
ones to go. See ya.
Well, it's so weird now because it's just yeah, the online learning world is just so accepted. So it brings with it. It's funny. We just had a whole subject on the pros and cons, like the challenges of the online world in practice.
Oh yeah,
So it can be great. You can reach more people, but face to face, you like you
it's different.
it's gold standard,
Yeah, 100%.
basically. It's very different.
Even just conversations like this, like it makes a massive difference when you've actually got the person in your proximity.
Yeah,
Just the
it,
ease of conversation and the flow.
exactly. Energy. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, you can pick up, you know, like micro, like cues and body language, all that kind of stuff that online really does miss out on. But, you know, you think about there's a lot of veterans in the, in remote locations and things that don't have access to a lot of the services that they need. Thankfully, with technology,
Yeah.
it has opened up in that way, which is great.
Yeah, it's a
So
massive thing.
yeah, so continuously learning and
I was trying to think what I was talking about before with the clinicians thing, why that popped into my head.
I know where you were going. That some organizations can become too clinical. Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, just the corporate side of the world takes over once it becomes
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
It becomes clinical. then they need the corporate, HR departments and marketing departments, and the management system are traditionally or primarily not veterans, and they sort of grow and grow and grow. And then all of a sudden it's about how much money we can make rather than how can we help.
Exactly.
And I think that's happening to a lot of the bigger ESOs.
Yeah, definitely. They lose their way, because you look at how they were all formed. They were formed at the ground level by
mates
veterans
just helping mates,
wanting to help veterans. Yeah, mates helping mates. Yeah, mates for mates. Funny that. And then, they become these big, like you said, corporate entities. And unfortunately, a lot of the fundraising is going into wages and, creating these clinical environments, and then they're moving away from the boots on ground. I think we talked about this before with, mental health awareness. We have so much mental health awareness. We need more of the actual, tools, practices. What are we actually doing at the boots on ground level?
Those company values that
yeah
the values change once the corporate teams come in. These are our new value list.
And we're gonna the veterans may want that, but we're not going to deliver that because we want to be more clinical. And it really takes away from what the original organization was created for. And we know that, human beings are hardwired for social connection, and this is what we crave and what we need. But a lot of the organizations are moving away from that and, just focusing on clinical services, which are needed, but forgetting that we also need the other stuff as well.
Yeah, 100%. When they start making money, it becomes about how much more money can we make rather than how can we forget making money and how many more people can we help?
Yeah. How many people have we delivered services to this week? How much engagement do we have? How many people have we really helped turn their lives around this week?
How are people feeling about our services?
Yeah.
Do they enjoy what we provide them?
Are we listening to the feedback?
So you mentioned before that you work with hundreds and sometimes thousands of people. How do you do that?
Well, now I don't get the ringing in my ears, and I don't go deaf when I stand in front of the crowd.
Just a tinnitus.
But I definitely still get anxious and a bit of anxiety, the heart racing and things. Like I'm a human being, but I've learned that's also a good sign, because I want to do well and I want to, be the best that I can. And I had to let go of, I really struggled when I first came out of uni with imposter syndrome.
We all get it.
Yeah. And just, who's going to want to listen to me, or someone's going to go, that stat that you just gave is crap. But now I can't know everything, but what I do know and share is within my realm of knowledge. I'm not stepping outside of that. And I can actually help someone go, oh, I should be taking some magnesium. I get cramps. I should be taking some fish oil. I should be doing that. I need to go and do some yoga,
Even those little 1% things, like if one person does one of those things, it's a win.
Bingo. Yeah. That's, and I get feedback from the For Aussie Heroes program. I get all the feedback and the scores, and it's, average 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, which is amazing. But it's the comments of, I realize that I need to look after my diet for my mental health to be better. I know now that I need to focus more on my sleep. I know that I underrated this, and this. And I'm like, yes. Win. So, win, 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 win.
Yeah.
And that's why I love working with groups, because I might not get 100% strike rate and resonate or get the needle moving with every single person in the room. But even if it's just half, a third, it's
a handful.
Yeah, a handful. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
And that gives me purpose and meaning now, that to have as much positive influence on as many people as I can now is my thing. Yeah, it gives me a huge sense of and it's, improve my own self-confidence and ability to learn and grow, and always learning.
I had the very similar sort of experience at the Soldier Recovery Centre when I started working for them, whereas imposter syndrome for sure. I remember when I first graduated from uni, actually I got asked to do an event for Buddy Up Australia, who you work for.
Oh, yeah.
The imposter syndrome I had there was debilitating. Like,
Wow.
I'd sort of just recently graduated. I only worked with a couple of veterans, and I was like frozen. Like, talking about my hand, I'm like this. What do you call it? Fucking, like I couldn't.
Your hand.
Yeah, like. That's just an over exaggerated example,
Yeah,
but it was
right.
like I couldn't think of. My mind was just blank. They'd ask me questions, I couldn't fucking think of anything. And then I just reverted to like caveman sort of fucking answers, like, why is alcohol bad for you? Alcohol bad, exercise good, do exercise instead. Fucking. I felt
you got through it. But
I felt like the biggest fucking idiot after that. I swear to God. And yeah, I saw the MC afterwards, and in other social situations, and he's sort of fucking. Fuck, I hope he doesn't remember who I am. I'm sure he does, though.
But I bet you anything, like, you got through it. Like, did anyone give you any feedback afterwards?
No, they never call me again.
Damn, I was
and I don't blame him. No, it was legit. I was really bad.
I was hoping you would say that. Oh yeah, I got 10 out of 10.
But they told me how good it was. No. Soldier Recovery Centre, though, that was a different, like, yeah, same thing. Like, I'd walk up on stage and all pasty and didn't know, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then, like, just to get over the fear, I don't know how everybody else does it, but I just start, just fucking go, just start talking. And then you sort of look around and nobody gives a fuck. And you're like, oh God, nobody cares. This is fucking terrible. But then, I get the feedback forms at the end of the 8 weeks and they're like, that lecture you gave on such and such was like really changed my life and everything. And I'm like, oh, fuck,
wow,
yes, they're actually listening, even though they look disengaged.
Yeah. And they're the things that you have to grip onto and stick to when, what is the evidence when the imposter syndrome creeps in.
Yeah.
And like for me, I've got any card or anything that someone has written that says, that I turn my life around with that, or what you said there resonated with me, I keep it. And I've got like it used to be a hat box that my mum used to have. We saved it in the floods. It was a very special thing. And it's full of these little notes and cards. And even my kids, every birthday, I don't want a present, just write me something. And I keep them all. And if I don't have to go to it as much now, but when, the imposter syndrome was creeping up a lot more, I would go to it and I would like, yeah, you know what you're doing. Just keep going, stick with it. You're not harming anyone here. You're doing good work. Keep going. And that was really powerful for me. And I always, or sometimes a saying will come up in my head where someone has said, I did this and I now sleep like this. That's because of you. Just remember that.
Yeah.
File it. Because, I can tend to really get into my head like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's why yoga and mindfulness and being like Dr. Damien Taylor, leadership guru. He's one of my mentors, and he's always be where your feet are. We're worrying, anxious about the future. going over things in the past. And he's like, be where your feet are, be where your feet are. And I have to do that sometimes when I'm at the gym on the bike and I'm wandering, and then I go, be where your feet are, be where your feet are. And I've got to anchor myself and just watch my feet. Here I am, and get back to where being in the present. And I've been doing that, and I've got qualifications in mindfulness and all that kind of stuff, but still takes me concerted effort every day. Be where your feet are, be where your feet are. And it grounds me all the time. I need to constantly keep bringing myself into the present. And I think it happens for a lot of people. And a lot of people say, I can't meditate. I can't empty my mind. Well, that's part of the struggle. Forget the struggle, forget the emptying of the mind. Let it do its thing, especially if you've got, ADD, which more people, half the bloody commandos have got ADHD. I've just got to go and take my Ritalin, and half the group goes off, I'll go take mine as well. Because they're amazing at when you give them a task and they're all over it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's such a common thing of I'm in my head, I can't quiet my mind. It's not trying to force it, not trying to empty it. It's just letting it go. Keep coming back to where your feet are, your breath. Slow things down, even if it's just for a short moment. I've got to do it all the time. Super helpful.
I think that's good to have conversations like this as well, because I think for people like yourself or commandos or people in high-level sort of jobs or portrayed as the guru or the goat of that genre, just to know that we all have the struggle that, like you struggle to be in the moment.
Yeah.
You have to remind yourself every day, even though you're the one that teaches and the philosophy to everybody. I remember myself when I was a Muay Thai fighter and, in the army and doing Spartan races and just a weapon. Everybody would be like, if I tell them to do some exercise, find you 20, 30 minutes of time to look after yourself. They're like, you don't understand. You could never understand. You're just too fit or too much of a beast. Like, it's easy for you.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking not.
It's actually hard work, right?
Yeah.
And it's
a grind. I'll stare at my shoes for fucking, half an hour or put them next to the couch and then watch TV and if I can glance over and I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it.
I know. Yeah, it's the hard. We've talked about this before with Huberman, from the Huberman Lab, talking about it's the hard things and it's sitting in the discomfort that creates the new neural pathways. And for me, that was the total game changer because we can be so hard on ourselves and you think, imposter syndrome, I'm a fraud. My diet's not, I might be a nutritionist, but is my diet 100% perfect? No, you did not see how much chocolate I ate over Easter. I ate my own body weight in, I'm not 48 kilos anymore, let me tell you. I ate my own body weight in chocolate. I ate the kids' chocolate. I mean, we had to do an emergency dash. I do it every year.
I did too. Before. It was like 3 things on the shelf.
Like, that's not what I asked for. That's because I ate it last week at 10 o'clock at night. So, I don't pretend to be perfect, but it's like you're with your ice baths and your sauna and things like that. It's doing the hard. But when we sit in the hard and the uncomfortable is where we move the needle most towards. It's those small movements of moving it to where we want to be. And I learned at uni perfection paralysis. And I would be like, if I don't get a high distinction for this assignment, then, it was like I had to prove myself, not to anyone else, but to myself. But if things Same with, music. My dad's an amazing musician. I've got a beautiful guitar that he's made for me, but if I can't play it perfectly, then, then I shouldn't play. But same with surfing. I'm not an amazing surfer. So a lot of people would not just keep going out because, well, I can't really surf. I now no longer am looking to achieve any kind of perfection where I used to. In my 30s, even early 40s, I was always seeking, if I can't be amazing or 100% at that, then I'm just not going to do it. Whereas now, I don't care if I'm 10%, I'm 10% a surfer. I got the sticker on my car, don't care. Got the roof racks, I got the board,
Okay.
but yeah,
You've gone all in.
I look amazing. Can I surf? No. Do I care? No, I don't. It's just, and
You think
same
it comes with a bit of competitiveness as well? Like, I want to
um,
be the best. If I'm not the best, then fucking I don't do it.
I think back in the day, whereas now I've let a lot of that go because I'm no longer seeking anyone's, I wanted my dad's approval a lot when I was younger. But I don't need anyone else's approval. I just need to go and do it. And I think especially my brother passed away when he was 33 from a seizure. My mum passed away at 60. It definitely has changed. I identified my brother's body when he passed. I was with my mum when she passed. And so I don't fear death because I've looked at both of them like, you're not there anymore. They'd gone to wherever. So I think that's had an effect on me that I don't fear dying, but I wouldn't say it's fear, but I'm definitely driven by living the best quality life that I can, even with some limitations with my back and pain and things like that. Because not that I'm thinking, oh, I could, I'm going to die tomorrow and I'm not obsessing over it, but we could be here for a long time. I might be here for another 20, 30 years, or I might not. So I just want to live and learn and grow and keep doing things out of my comfort zone because our brain wants to protect us and it wants to be comfortable. It's like, oh, just, you don't need to be doing that. Like it's way more comfortable to sit on the lounge and watch, Netflix because and stay there than move out of it, for some people getting up off the lounge and even leaving the front door is a huge ask, right? When our mental health is not in a good place.
Oh yeah.
But I think knowing that, okay, if I break this comfort and get into discomfort, this is where I live. And, for me, it's not being afraid of being uncomfortable or doing something that in the past I was like, oh, I can't really do that, or I'm not really good at that. I'm just not going to do it. No, I just do it. No. And like my mum used to always say, lower your expectations and you won't be disappointed. That was about a few certain people, maybe that I married, but if he doesn't listen, lower your expectation, you won't be disappointed. But sometimes it's that expectation that we set for ourselves of, I need to be going to the gym, 5 days a week and training an hour a day. And then it becomes so big and overwhelming, or I've got to lose, 10 kilos in 10 weeks. And sometimes we set
big unachievable goals.
We set the bar so high and we forget about the little steps of, for me, if I flip the mat out and I do 10 minutes of yoga while my kids are, watching TV, but they want me to watch something with them, that's a yoga practice. Okay? Because no one's judging it, but I just did some stretches, yoga practice. So
I remember when I was a personal trainer when I was at uni, I would be trying to drive my business and stuff, and people would say, I want to start personal training. Oh, great, let's start. But not yet because I'm not fit enough. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
What the fuck do you mean you're not fit enough? That's literally the point. But they don't want to look unfit in front of somebody.
Yeah.
It's too embarrassing. So they want to do, go for runs and do push-ups and cool, they get fit, and then which they'll never do because
Yeah.
no one ever will.
It becomes so overwhelming, and then it's such a big client. And I've been learning a bit more too about, goals and goal setting and how like they're not helpful, because often we have goals that we have such high expectations, and it's a big leap from here to the goal. It's forget this big high flying goal that you've got up here. Is what can you do right now today that even moves you just to here? Like
that's all SMART goal things, that little achievable goals along the way.
Yeah.
If you just have that big one, like I'm going to run a marathon, but then you go for a 5K run and it fucking hurts and you feel like shit and you're like, I'm never going to make it.
That's it. I'm never doing
40,
that again.
fuck that.
Oh, my knees, my ankles, my back. But yeah. So it's been
I've
definitely been a rewiring of my brain over the years. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've had very similar situations. I lost my fiance when I was in my early 20s. And she was also in her early 20s, so that was a real
I'm sorry
eye opener to how
so young.
fucking how fragile and how easy it is to lose a life. She died in an accident. And then in my 30s, my Muay Thai coach, who was the fucking fittest, most energetic dude I've ever met in my life, just died suddenly from a heart attack.
Wow.
And now a couple of other friends that have passed, and just seeing that so young, you're like, this life is not long or guaranteed. It's not just because you're fit and healthy and you think you look after yourself that you're going to live until you're 90 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be taken at any time.
Do you think that's affected how you've led your life, having grief so young?
It has for sure. Yeah, it was the reason I left the military the first time, was because I couldn't deal with the grief, and they weren't supportive at all. But it's given me two sort of different peaks and troughs of like, fuck it, life's short.
I know, right?
It's not worth fucking worrying about shit, so I'll just drink all the time and party and not look after myself because fuck it, who cares? I might die tomorrow. I spend all my money and and then on the other side, life is precious. You need to look after yourself, and so yeah, I sort of teeter between both.
It's a catch-22, isn't it? Yeah, because I'm terrible for planning for the future, especially with finances and things like that. Because I'm like very much in the moment, and that can be, who knows what? I'll be living in a shoebox by the time I'm 70 because I haven't planned.
Well, that's it. I didn't buy this house until I was 40. What am I now? 43, 41.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my whole 20s. So I lost Alison I think I was 23. Until I was at least 33, I was like, fuck it, could die anytime. And
wow.
Just every cent I got, I just destroyed, either drinking or going out or traveling or.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I fucking, regret it too much. Like, I had fun.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't set myself up for a future until I started getting mid-30s, and I was like, fuck, I really need to, I might not die. So,
oops.
Just in case I don't, I better
save $1.50.
Yeah, balance this out a little bit.
It's so right though, because it is that, it's like, okay, if I have this long future, it's finding that point of living. There's a book I read as an audio book recently. I'm pretty sure it's called Die with Zero. And it's about doing things at different time points of your life within reason, instead of waiting until, often people will save all their money or they'll squirrel away everything until, waiting for retirement. And my mum and dad were going to travel when my mum retired And she passed away and they never got to travel overseas. And my dad was like, well, I'll work a bit longer and we'll just, and then we'll be able to go away for so many months. Terminally ill, and same with my brother. He squirreled away money, never left Australia by the time he'd passed away. And I think, and this book is about why wait to do certain things that might physically challenge you. Say, you want to hike a mountain, but you wait until you retire. Do you either one get to retirement age or your knees haven't blown out? You can't make that summit physically, but you've missed a point in time where you're in your prime. And I never appreciated, I'm trying to appreciate, I'm in my early 50s now, and I'm trying to, I don't like aging, but I'm grateful for it. But I'm trying to live my best physical self and that with what I've got now, because who knows, my back might, fall over or something else might get ill. And I never appreciated my physical body. In my 40s, I was in my prime. In my 30s, I was so fit and healthy, but self-conscious. I'm like, oh my God. And so right now I have this whole, like loving myself and my capacity, physical capacity of what I can do now, and trying to push my limits more now and push myself harder, because I know what I have right now, if I'm lucky enough to get to my 70s, my 80s, I'm going to go, damn girl, you were on fire in your 50s. And I'm trying to embody it instead of being so friggin', my friends that are the same age as me, so friggin' hard on ourselves. And even men that I work with, I used to be able to do this. I used to be able to lift this. I used to be able to run here. We get stuck in that I used to.
Can't do that anymore. So fucking, what's the point?
Yeah. So I'm not going to do anything. So it's really, yeah. But again, just like the meditating and the grounding and that I've got to do to get out of my head, it's work. It's, doing
well, fucking 50 is not what it used to be either. Like, think back to when, our parents and their parents were in their 50s, maybe not yours because they were young, but like 50 was, retirement, little old dresses and sort of kicking around, fucking baking scones and stuff.
But my kids, whenever they see one of those signs, for over 50s living, they're like, Mom, you could go and live there. I'm like, I would rock that place. I'd be on fire at the over 50s living, but thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. No, it's not what it used to be. Fucking, you look young.
We're living past, though, like I'd be on my last legs.
Yeah, exactly.
100, 200 years ago, this is pretty much it for me. So we're living longer, and we're doing more and more. There's more and more research coming out about longevity and how we look after ourselves. And I don't want to be frail. I don't. I want to be mobile as much as I can as I get older, no matter what my back's doing. And you're just taking care of myself and doing the hard stuff and still going out of my comfort zone.
As much as you can for as long as you can. I know it's mentality thing. It's a generational thing as well. Remember, like when we used to think they were adults? When you're growing up, you're like, oh, when you're 30 or when you're 40, like that's an adult.
Yeah.
And then you fucking get there and you're like, oh, there's no such thing as fucking adults. We're all just fucking idiots at fucking bumping into each other. What the fuck are we doing?
None of us have got any idea what we're doing.
You think like at some age, all of a sudden you start wearing chinos and fucking loafers, and that's when you become a
sensible shoes,
a man.
Beige clothes.
Yeah.
Don't do beige.
That's when you become an adult.
No,
it's just beige. A generational thing. I remember sitting with my hairdresser in my 30s going, fucking, when does the transition come to, adulthood? And he's like, I don't think it ever fucking comes, bro. I think like we were surfers and skaters and street kids and like we were streetwear and stuff, and that's just what we'll wear forever. And our parents, like they had different clothes, so that's what they'll wear.
Well, even my dad, like obviously still young, but 71. And he said, like he was in a serious motorbike accident last year and had carpal tunnel in his hands, and he's been really knocked around physically last year. And he said, I'm really starting to feel my age. I'm this is tough, but his mind is still back when he was, used to wear this silk dragon caftan, performing on stage, belting his lungs out, playing guitar as, a rock star. He's still that person. But his body is changing and not bouncing. It did not bounce back from being hit by a car, surprisingly.
We have to try and remind ourselves of that as well, like not doing fucking dumb shit, like taking up a new hobby like skateboarding or something when you're like your body's just not fucking.
That's the boys when they went surfing. Like last weekend, they went on the skate rink. I'm like, no, I'm gonna break things.
It's like half an hour of kind of a good time for fucking risking maybe years of rehab.
No. I got my motorbike license because again I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone, and I haven't got a bike or anything yet. Well, after Dad got hit by a car, I'm like, I think I need to rethink that. Like no skills, Jodi Allen out on a motorbike with no skills.
That's they call it temporary residence.
Yeah.
I used to ride my whole life really, and I fucking rode off a bike. Well, maybe I was 29 or 30. But yeah, just going down in Paddington and just fucking cruising straight down the road, and someone just pulled straight out in front of me and T-boned him.
That's what happened to my dad.
Yeah, it's because I don't look. Like he sort of came out halfway and then stopped. I thought he stopped because he saw me, but he was just making a decision on the other traffic that he saw.
Oh,
and then as I got right where point of no return, he pulled out.
Injuries? What injuries did you get?
I was kind of all right. I guess I saw it coming, so I like braced up like a footy tackle, went over the bike. The biggest injuries were my balls turned fucking bright purple because I like.
That's what happened to my dad.
It's like
on the way over. Oversharing, Dad. Overshare. Oh, terrible.
Yeah. But no, it was all right.
Did you stop riding then? Days. Or?
Yeah, I took about a year off, I think, and then I got back into it. But I rode all through uni. A GSXR 1000, fucking souped up.
How many speeding fines did you get?
I don't think I got any. Maybe one.
Oh, well done.
But no, it was a quick commute. Just because you could park at the uni, like underneath or fucking.
Yeah, nice.
When I started uni, you can park wherever the fuck you wanted, but then the restrictions got pretty bad. But then I found out they only give you a warning for a motorbike if you park. If you don't pay for parking. So I was like, a warning, I'll take a fucking warning. So never paid for parking.
You rebel, you.
No, but then after uni, I was like, I never ride it. Even if I had one, when would I use it?
Yeah, that's the reality. And I had a paramedic on one of my last PTSD courses, and he was like, really, you're going to be out there, a weekend warrior, no skills. And it's just, you're not going to come off any kind of accident lightly.
Well,
you're making you're making a lot of sense.
I think the only benefit in the city when you've got other shit to do, if you're like, unless you live in the country and you can ride it all the time, is a commute. Like if you work in the city, and you don't have to pay for parking and save time because you can cut through traffic.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's how often are you going to use it?
Yeah. I think there's some things I'm happy to do things that make me uncomfortable, but I'm a bit more risk averse as well, though.
I've done some wild shit on motorbikes that I should be dead.
Yeah.
Even like Logan Village, when you said that your dad lives out there. I used to ride up there fucking maybe 200, 250 k's an hour.
Oh, yeah, because it's a huge stretch. Yeah. And the guys going up Tambourine Mountain, oh, my God, you know. Yeah.
I used to ride up there drunk without a helmet on sometimes.
What?
Just for shits and giggles.
You should cut that out.
This is back in my 20s, early 20s.
Long time ago.
20 odd years ago, yeah.
Oh, but see, that's,
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, like not worrying about risk. Oh, well, I think, most of my risky behaviours were around alcohol. Walking when I was in Melbourne, walking home because I didn't want to pay for a cab from the city out into the, eastern suburbs, western suburbs, southeast, west, wherever I was. Not a nice area in the middle of the night. I don't know how many times I did things like that and just, crazy stuff. Just lucky, really, at the end of the day. Still here. Still hanging in there.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, there was one thing I wanted to ask you about because we've spoken about it before, which fucking was quite hilarious. Tell me about the fucking present you got for leaving the Air Force after 14 years. 14 years of dedicated service to the Royal Australian Air Force.
Oh, look. I got a bit ripped off because I was hoping for, a plaque or something or other. And, not to diss the guys that put the hat, you had to, everyone had to put some money in a hat kind of thing to get me a present. But I got a bras and things voucher and like a nighty satin gown as my leaving present after 14 years of loyal service.
They couldn't afford a vacuum cleaner, so they got you some lingerie.
I was like, really? I want like a plaque or something or other. I got a bras and things voucher. So what does that say about what they thought of me? So yeah, that was.
Was there like a woman in the Air Force sort of thing back then, or was it pretty equal?
Oh no, it's still definitely more men ratio to women, but
so a couple of dudes have got their heads together and thought, still like this.
Well, it was actually a civvy chick that put I shouldn't say chick, a civilian
civvy scumbag
woman. I'd say that. Namaste. I always finish everything with namaste these days.
Oh, fuck.
It was actually one of the civvy girls that put it together. So it was very thoughtful. But
to remember your time in service.
I felt gypped. I really wanted a plaque or something. And I got a 90 satin robe, and hence I don't have those.
Oh, fuck. Is anyone we can call to try and organise a plaque or a coin or something?
Yeah, remembrance of my illustrious 14
years of service. So you put that in a frame somewhere and in your trophy cabinet.
I swan around in my negligee, remembering my years of service. Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
It's tough.
Well, I'll give you a present way better than a lingerie.
Oh, some merch.
Oh, shit.
Thank you.
I don't know where I got that. I think I stole that from 6RAR. Lest we forget.
Oh, that's nice for Anzac Day. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Got my Grey Man podcast. I can be your first partially grey woman.
And guests get free merch.
Oh, lovely.
I've got at the moment.
I like them.
Just a keychain and a sticker.
And there's a QR code on the back. Is that for your website?
No, that will take you to Instagram, but Instagram has all the links on the bio, the website, and the YouTube. YouTube's the primary one. I should have put that on there. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't even have Instagram, which I kind of thought about afterwards. But no, YouTube's where it all happens. So all the pods will get released, all the full pods, and Spotify.
Fabulous.
But if you're listening to this now, then you already know that. Spotify or YouTube and Insta and Facebook. And I even opened a TikTok account.
Oh, look at you go-getter.
It hurt my soul, but I've heard that's where some people see things. So.
The young people.
The young people, yeah. I refuse to do it for fucking however long that's been out, 20 odd years. Yeah,
I refuse to relent. I'm like way too old, but you're younger than me, so you can get away with it.
I won't even open it. It's not even under my name. It's under the Grey Man podcast. So I'll chuck a couple of reels on there to entice people to the YouTube.
Yeah, those young people that want to hear
the youngins.
Yeah, get the youngins in there.
Hear us old people talk shit about the good old days.
Back in a day.
Yes. Cool. Thanks for being here, Jodi.
Love it. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Great chat as always.
Bye.
See ya.